What if I told you that some of heavy metal's biggest icons were carrying a truth the world never saw? On stage, they roared with unmatched energy, smashing boundaries with their music and larger-than-life personas. But offstage, many of them were hiding a part of themselves, fearing the backlash of an industry and fanbase that wasn't ready to accept them. Their sexuality was kept in the shadows, buried beneath leather jackets, long hair, and walls of sound. Here are 15 heavy metal legends you probably never knew were gay and the untold stories behind their hidden lives. 15. Rob Halford. Let's start with the most famous name on this list. Rob Halford, the legendary frontman of Judas Priest, is often called the metal god, and for good reason. His soaring vocals, leather and studs aesthetic, and commanding stage presence helped define what heavy metal could be. What many fans didn't know for decades was that Halford is gay. He came out publicly in 1998 during an interview, making him one of the first major heavy metal stars to openly discuss his sexuality. The revelation could have been career-ending in the late 90s metal scene, but instead, it was met with overwhelming support from fans and fellow musicians. Halford later revealed that his sexuality influenced some of Judas Priest's most iconic imagery. The leather, the studs, the motorcycle. These weren't just random choices, but were inspired by gay leather culture. In hindsight, it seems obvious, but at the time, these visual elements simply became part of metal's DNA without most people understanding their origins. Since coming out, Halford has become an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights within the metal community. He's encouraged other closeted musicians to be true to themselves and has shown that authenticity only makes an artist stronger, not weaker. 14. Doug Pinnick. Doug Pinnick, the bassist and vocalist for the progressive metal band King's X, came out as gay in 1998, the same year as Rob Halford. However, Pinnick's journey was more complicated due to his deep Christian faith and the fact that King's X had a significant following in Christian rock circles. King's X was known for their innovative approach to heavy music, blending metal with funk, gospel, and progressive rock elements. Pinnick's powerful voice and philosophical lyrics made him a respected figure in the metal underground. When he came out, he faced some backlash from the Christian rock community, but he also found support from unexpected places. Pinnick has been open about the internal struggle he faced, reconciling his faith with his sexuality. His honesty about this conflict has resonated with many LGBTQ+ individuals who've faced similar challenges. Through it all, he's continued to create innovative music and has become a role model for authenticity in the face of adversity. 13. Gal. In the extreme world of Norwegian black metal, few figures are as enigmatic or controversial as Gal. The former frontman of Gorgoroth and current member of Wardruna publicly came out as gay in 2008, sending shockwaves through the black metal scene. Black metal has traditionally been one of the most conservative and homophobic subgenres of metal, making Gal's openness about his sexuality particularly significant. He didn't just come out quietly. He did so boldly and without apology, even winning Gay Person of the Year in Bergen, Norway in 2010. Gal's approach to his sexuality and his music has always been unapologetically authentic. He's never tried to soften his image or make himself more palatable to those who might disapprove. This refusal to compromise has made him a powerful symbol of LGBTQ+ visibility in extreme metal. Beyond his musical career, Gal has also made his mark in fashion and art, often incorporating queer themes and imagery into his work. His influence extends far beyond black metal, inspiring a new generation of artists to be fearless in their self-expression. 12. Otep Shamaya. Otep Shamaya is impossible to ignore. The frontwoman of the nu metal band Otep brings an intensity to her performances that's both terrifying and mesmerizing. She's also been openly queer throughout her career, never hiding her sexuality or her relationships. Shamaya's approach to her queerness is confrontational and political. She doesn't just happen to be gay, she makes it part of her artistic statement. Her lyrics often address LGBTQ+ rights, social justice, and political activism. She's used her platform to speak out against discrimination and has been a vocal advocate for marginalized communities. What makes Shamaya particularly important is that she's been visible as a queer woman in a genre where women, let alone queer women, are often marginalized. Her success has helped pave the way for other LGBTQ+ women in metal, showing that there's room for diverse voices in heavy music. 11. Roddy Bottum. Faith No More's keyboardist Roddy Bottum came out as gay in the early 1990s, making him one of the first openly gay musicians in the alternative metal scene. Faith No More was at the forefront of the alternative metal movement, and Bottom's openness about his sexuality helped normalize LGBTQ+ visibility in heavy music. Bottom has never made a big deal about his sexuality. It's simply part of who he is. This matter-of-fact approach has been influential, showing that being gay doesn't have to be the defining characteristic of an artist. You can be gay and make crushing metal music without those two things being in conflict. Throughout Faith No More's career, Bottom has been known for his innovative keyboard work and his willingness to experiment with different sounds and styles. His contributions to the band's unique sound helped establish alternative metal as a legitimate subgenre. 10. Sean Reinert. The late Sean Reinert was one of the most technically proficient drummers in death metal history. His work with Death and Cynic helped push the boundaries of what extreme metal could be, incorporating jazz influences and complex rhythmic patterns that elevated the genre to new heights. Reinert came out later in his career, revealing that he had been closeted for decades due to fears about how the metal community would react. His eventual openness about his sexuality was met with support from fans and fellow musicians, showing how much the metal scene had evolved. Tragically, Reinert passed away in 2020, but his legacy lives on through his innovative drumming and his courage in living authentically. He proved that technical skill and artistic vision know no sexual orientation, and his influence on extreme metal continues to inspire new generations of musicians. 9. Paul Masvidal. Paul Masvidal, Sean Reinert's bandmate in both Death and Cynic, is another pioneer of progressive death metal. Known for his innovative guitar work and ethereal vocals, Masvidal helped create some of the most influential albums in extreme metal history. Like Reinert, Masvidal came out later in his career, having spent years in the closet due to concerns about acceptance in the metal community. His eventual openness was part of a broader trend of LGBTQ+ visibility in extreme metal, showing that even the most aggressive forms of music could be inclusive. Masvidal's approach to music has always been spiritual and transcendent, incorporating elements of jazz, progressive rock, and ambient music into extreme metal frameworks. His willingness to experiment and push boundaries has made him one of the most respected musicians in progressive metal. 8. Hunter Hunt Hendrix. Hunter Hunt Hendrix, the mastermind behind the transcendental black metal project Liturgy, came out as transgender in 2019. Her approach to black metal is unconventional and often controversial, incorporating elements of classical music, electronic music, and academic theory into traditionally conservative genre frameworks. Hunt Hendrix's visibility as a transgender woman in extreme metal has been groundbreaking. She's faced significant backlash from conservative elements within the black metal scene, but she's also found support from progressive fans and musicians. Her refusal to conform to genre expectations has made her a polarizing but important figure. Beyond her musical contributions, Hunt Hendrix is also an academic and writer, approaching metal from theoretical and philosophical perspectives. Her work challenges traditional notions of what black metal can be and who can make it. 7. Elsie Hale. Elsie Hale, the powerhouse frontwoman of Hailstorm, has been open about her bisexuality and her relationships with both men and women. In a genre where female musicians often face scrutiny and objectification, Hale's openness about her sexuality has been both brave and influential. Hailstorm's music is straightforward, no-nonsense rock and metal, and Hale's sexual orientation is simply part of who she is, rather than a defining characteristic of the band's music. This normalization of LGBTQ+ identity in mainstream metal has been important for visibility and acceptance. Hale has been vocal about supporting LGBTQ+ rights and has used her platform to advocate for equality and acceptance. Her success as an openly bisexual woman in metal has helped pave the way for other LGBTQ+ artists in the genre. 6. Skin. Skin, the lead vocalist of British rock band Skunk Anansie, has been open about her bisexuality throughout her career. Known for her powerful voice and commanding stage presence, Skin has been a trailblazer for both women and LGBTQ+ people in alternative rock and metal. Skunk Anansie's music often addresses political and social issues, including LGBTQ+ rights and racial equality. Skin's visibility as a bisexual woman of color in rock music has been particularly important for representation and diversity in heavy music. Throughout her career, Skin has refused to be pigeonholed or limited by others' expectations. Her success has shown that authenticity and talent are what matter most in music, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. 5. Laura Jane Grace. Laura Jane Grace, the founder and frontwoman of punk rock band Against Me, came out as transgender in 2012, becoming one of the most visible transgender musicians in rock and punk music. Her transition was documented publicly, including through the album Transgender Dysphoria Blues, which dealt explicitly with her experiences as a transgender woman. Grace's openness about her transition has been both brave and educational, helping to increase visibility and understanding of transgender issues within punk and alternative music communities. Her continued success after transitioning has shown that authenticity can strengthen rather than harm an artist's career. Against Me's music has always been political and confrontational, and Grace's personal journey has only added depth and meaning to her lyrics. Her advocacy for transgender rights has made her an important voice for LGBTQ+ equality in music. 4. Dorian Electra. While more associated with hyperpop and experimental electronic music, Dorian Electra also incorporates heavy metal and industrial elements into their music. As a non-binary artist, Electra represents the cutting edge of LGBTQ+ visibility in heavy music. Electra's music often plays with gender stereotypes and traditional notions of masculinity and femininity, using heavy metal imagery and sounds to explore these themes. Their work challenges both musical and social boundaries, creating something entirely new and unprecedented. The inclusion of artists like Electra shows how the definition of heavy music continues to evolve and expand, incorporating new voices and perspectives that challenge traditional genre boundaries. 3. Jake Shears. Jake Shears, the flamboyant frontman of Scissor Sisters, brought glam rock theatricality back to mainstream music in the 2000s. While Scissor Sisters is more rock than metal, their influence on alternative and glam metal acts has been significant. Shears has been openly gay throughout his career, and his theatrical performances and gender-bending aesthetic have influenced a generation of rock and metal performers. His success showed that flamboyance and queerness could be celebrated rather than hidden in rock music. The Scissor Sisters' approach to rock music, theatrical, danceable, and unabashedly queer, has influenced numerous metal and rock acts who've incorporated similar elements of performance and spectacle into their own work. 2. Judas Priest. While Rob Halford is the most famous LGBTQ+ member of Judas Priest, it's worth noting that the band's overall aesthetic and influence extend far beyond one member. The leather, studs, and motorcycle imagery that became synonymous with heavy metal were heavily influenced by gay leather culture, even if most fans didn't realize it at the time. This influence shows how LGBTQ+ culture has been woven into the DNA of heavy metal from the very beginning, often in ways that weren't immediately obvious. The hypermasculine imagery that defined metal actually had roots in gay subculture, creating an interesting irony given metal's sometimes homophobic reputation. 1. Doro Pesch. While not openly LGBTQ+ herself, Doro Pesch, the queen of heavy metal, has been a longtime ally and supporter of LGBTQ+ rights. Her influence on women in metal and her advocacy for inclusivity have made her an important figure in the fight for equality in heavy music. Pesh's career, spanning over 4 decades, has shown that heavy metal can be inclusive and welcoming to all people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. Her support for LGBTQ+ artists and causes has helped create a more accepting environment in metal. The world of heavy metal has always been about breaking rules, shattering norms, and giving a voice to the outsiders. These 15 legends not only redefined music, but also carried secrets that showed just how unforgiving the industry and society could be. Their stories remind us that true power isn't just in screaming through a microphone or shredding a guitar solo. It's in having the courage to live authentically, even when the world isn't ready. So the question is, how many more untold truths are still buried in rock history? If you want to uncover more hidden stories behind the music you love, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us as we dig deeper into the secrets the industry tried to keep quiet. Are you ready to hear what really went on behind the curtain?